this is J.N.S, and we are continuing with the Divine Feminine series. And I know it's been a while. I kind of got sidetracked into other things. I was working on a book that I had just released. And so it took up a lot of my time, a lot of my energy. I apologize for the delay if anyone had been waiting for the rest of the information of the Divine Feminine series. And I thank you all for sticking through it and checking it out. And so, as you can see, this particular video is going to be talking about Jesus' views on the Divine Feminine. Okay? And the reason why we're covering Jesus' views on the Divine Feminine is because, believe it or not, a part of his work, a large part of his body of work and teachings was to usher in like this age of the Divine Feminine, to bring some clarity around topics that at that time, 2,000 years ago, would have been forbidden. It was not just information of the Divine Feminine. It was obviously intergalactic mentalism, fulfilling of a prophecy, but also the information goes hand in hand, because when I say that, the information of the intergalactic mentalism that he was teaching, as well as this age of the Divine Feminine, goes hand in hand, because at the time he was trying to let it be known that these teachings of the Kabbalah, of the mystery sciences, of a lot of the things that his ilk was privy to, whether that be the Order of Melchizedek, the secret societies of Rome at that time, the priesthood, the sibyls and oracles. He was trying to communicate with them like, this information is altered. This information is there's some things wrong with the body of work, and so he was trying to shed light on that information by doing his own teachings. Obviously, a lot of his teachings was inspired by what he learned in the East during the ages from 12 to 32, which is the missing years in the Bible, as you guys know. But nonetheless, believe it or not, there are some teachings that allude to the Divine Feminine. Again, a lot of the information was collated 200 years after the person that you guys call Jesus' death. Either it could have been 150 years to 200 years. Don't quote me on the exact numbers. And that is when we have the Council of Nicaea to collate to canonize rather, what would be considered proper scripture. And so anything that was not considered or quote unquote proper, as deemed by the Roman Emperor Constantine, as well as the 350 bishops that was doing the collation of this material of the Bible itself, as well as the teachings of that ascended master that connected down. Now again, there's many scuttlebutt on even the real name. Is it Thelonious of Apollonius? Is it Jesus? Is it Emmanuel? Is it Yeshua? We just know that there was an ascended master teaching at this particular time. They also used to call him Isa in India. Isa in India, Issa. And when he was in India, he stayed in a monastery. He was a priest. So he had been a priest. They put you in the priesthood at 12 years old. He was a royal priest. This wasn't just some regular. I know people think he was some regular, Joe Smo just out in the streets of Rome preaching or whatever. But that's not how it go. He left the established order of the priesthood to go and do renegade vogue teachings, which is why they labeled him a heretical. He's claiming to be the son of God. He's claiming to be the son of man. He's claiming to be, and they went after him. But he had a very well methodical, thought out life on what things would be, because his family was in order. His family on both the mother and father side. We talk about the Immaculate Conception and whatnot. We'll be talking about the stepfather. Would that be their own order through bloodline, stuff that gets passed down. And obviously, even Miriam Magdalene, people he wrote with, there's a lot of misconceptions about, this Mary Magdalene. That was his road dog. She was his second in command, and he left the disciples to follow her when he knew he was going to be transitioning into a different light body. Not necessarily die, but transition into another light body. He was going to leave them to follow Mary. He did leave them to follow Miriam Magdalene, who was also a high priestess. She's a descendant of the dragon riders, but she's also was a priestess of Isis. Very much familiar with the mystery sciences that Jesus was teaching at that same time. Again, they were able to share information because they knew the information. She was more familiar with the mysticism of Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalah, alchemy, and the teachings of Egypt. He was more he was well versed in a lot of the mystery science, but what drew his attention, believe it or not, is the Shakti philosophy, the Agori tantric practices, which is why his whole crew had a reputation out there. They called Mary a prostitute for a reason. It's not that she was a prostitute. They would do their little tantric. They was, come on. This was a renegade group of people. They went rogue, and so that upset obviously the Sadducees and the Pharisees of the Jewish establishment, and of course the Roman Empire, and the Roman Emperor itself, as well as the secret societies connected to the Roman Empire that established it in the first place, which obviously takes orders from the fallen watchers. Now, why were they so pissed that he was going around teaching those type of things he was teaching? Because when he was learning these the teachings out in the East as Isa, that's it. When I say that the Shakti teachings fascinated him most, it's evident in his body of work. Like if you study his the parables, if you study even the actions, the actual the miracles and the things that he was doing, this is a high level form of intergalactic mentalism. But a lot of those teachings, yes, it can be found in Western Hermeticism. Yes, it can even be found in the Egypt pantheon. But the East teachings of certain esoteric sciences of, let's say, the Shakti school of thought, the Shiva and the Kali school of thought, that's where you start to learn how to do a lot of the miracles that he was performing. Raising people from the dead, raising of the hands, calming the winds, all these things. It's a very specific body, it's a very specific school of thought that a priest has to be trained on. It can take many years. It depends on how much work you put in. But from 12 to 32, that's quite a bit of time to be able to study that material and master it. And if it is intriguing, if you're learning how to levitate, or if you're learning telekinesis, I mean, even as a teenager, that would be fascinating. And so he learned that information out there, then came back to Rome. Now, another thing is, even when even some forms of I won't say some forms, but there is a path in the Kabbalah that will also teach you these things. And I suspect that he knew that as well. I suspect that he knew of those things as well, and was pretty much a chaos spiritual teacher. And I'm speaking in code. Like when I say a chaos spiritual teacher, it means that there's no one path, and they start to create kind of their own. They start to create and see the interconnections and the network within everything that they have learned, and then just take it to another level. Or they have experiences with God herself or himself, and they having a higher access or a higher octave of information that they have to give out on top of the things that they have learned. They have to give out the things that was put inside them to actually teach as well. And so uh, the person that you call Jesus was very much familiar with the power of the divine feminine based off of the dimension that he came from. And if you guys want to know, I talked about I talk about this throughout like a lot of my videos and whatnot about the chaos intelligence realm, the actual qualitative genetics of the bloodline of Jesus, the qualitative aspects, what it means to be interdimensional, like all those things I cover, but I won't really reiterate that stuff in this video because again, we have to bridge this back to the divine feminine. And so his teachings, not the ones necessarily like that's accepted as mainstream, but the teachings say of the Nag Hammadi texts and even some of the parables certainly allude to, not even allude, but outright state how the divine feminine is very important, especially when there was doubts about Mary Magdalene being the one that he chose to continue his teachings. But there are books that were removed from the Bible that talk about just him and her going off to do meditations, to do astral projection, astral travel together. He was teaching her about physics. He was teaching her about chemistry. And he was teaching her about the planets. They would go off because some of the disciples called it out and got jealous. Like, why are you always taking... And again, you can read these books yourself. You got the Book of Thomas. You got, the whole Nag Hammadi text. You guys can read that stuff yourself. A lot of the Gnostic texts. Again, he comes from that school of thought. So his understanding... You got to figure he didn't create Christianity. Christianity was created by the Roman Empire. And so his body of work is situated within the context of real Gnosticism, the Egyptian mystery sciences, as well as the Eastern occult sciences of Shakti and Shiva. Now this may get people upset, and even the Buddha. But this may people get upset. People will have a fit about it. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to accept it. That's on them. Because it's very obvious when you're reading the Bible that's what his teachings are situated, when you're really reading his information. But then I understand people don't have that background, or they don't even know much about Jesus himself, or even what he was doing from 12 to 32, or, it's a lot of hints. It's a lot of hints, luckily. But then again, it's also a lot of corruption with how they cornerstoned that information and disseminated it out to the public. There were, again, a lot of people died trying to get the truth out. There was a lot of bishops that thought it was crazy as hell to switch up what he was saying, to lie about the things he was saying, as far and also a lot of the bishops, and these were Gnostic, some of them were Essenes. Again, there were many different types of Gnostic groups, as we know. You got Baseldes. There's hundreds at this time, but these were small little groups that knew what had happened, and they were considered like what would be the bishop or whatever. And so when they were invited to the Council of Nicaea to canonize the Bible, there was a lot of protests initially, because they were like, why are we lying to the public about this information? Why are we taking this information out? And they were very, very uncomfortable with it. And the ones that were uncomfortable got killed right then and there, or they had bounty on their life. They had to sneak out of town. Like, a lot of them had to go literally into exile. They hid a lot of their scriptures in caves and had to bounce and go underground. Shit had just got that real. It had just got that real at the time. And again, they knew the world was changing forever, and not for good reasons. They knew that people were going to be um, getting half-ass information, and not be getting the full narrative or the full story of what actually happened, or what the information actually even means. But yes, his body of work is situated in a very specific context. It should be read accordingly. It should be read as a blueprint to soul ascension, a human descending, an interdimensional being descending into human form and ascending back into godhood, as an example. That was pretty much what humans should have been taken from it, and things went left because of the Roman secret societies. They knew they was going to have a ball with that information. They knew that there were people talking about that stuff in Rome. They had to squash it. So yes, they did make. He was a blood sacrifice, but any of them teachings about the divine feminine, that was not making it in. You should see how Rome was treating those women back then. When they was even when Miriam tried to come forward and say, hey, he taught me all these things, they didn't believe none of that stuff. She got her own book. She was writing her own stuff. And they made her a prostitute in the Bible, which is incredibly insulting. Her coming from a royal priestess class. Her, even though that they was together as a couple, they were also related, but not in a way that you think like brother and sister or nothing like that. We're talking about relation of the bloodline through, like how you have your distant cousin and all that stuff. But yeah, he didn't just have no random ass people around him. Not in the sense that they tell it. It's very, very methodical as far as their upbringing. But they didn't want people to think that they needed to run with a very specific narrative, and that's what they did. He was teaching the same things about mother, about even in terms of the example that he was leaving, mother, father, and child. We know that there's hidden texts about alluding to his children, his twin brother, not twin brother, just a brother, from what I'm understanding. Now, it wasn't a twin brother, but he does have a brother that also wrote some stuff that had to sneak and he was in exile in India. He went to India to tell them what happened to who they was calling Isa, which was, you guys don't know him by Isa, but he went back to India to tell what had happened to him. Yeah, and so, I mean, it's a very intricate, it is controversial for some people to accept that. At this point, we really don't care, but again, what I'm going to show you is just some of the teachings of the Nag Hammadi text itself, and also some of the things of the Gnosticism, and some of just the actual teachings of Jesus himself, and then that way you guys can get an example of what I'm saying, because his work was cut short because they wanted to usher in the age of Pisces. This was an age of dogmatism where they wanted people under a very organized religion, very structured beliefs where you don't question, a very hierarchical, institutional religion. This is what Constantine said, if I can come up with a religion, if I can make Christianity the way we get into power. So he created Christianity. Constantine literally said, the Roman Empire said, with this information and what we know, we can actually rule the world with this information, with this, with this character, because Jesus was a blood sacrifice. So they were harvesting his energy, knowing exactly the light codes in his DNA, the bloodline that he was in, and who he was. And so Constantine, belonging to a very specific secret society, as well as the brethren within it, they absolutely decided he is going to be a blood sacrifice, or a sacrifice of some kind, and we are going to harvest and ride off that energy and use his energy to build to continue to expand the Roman Empire, to build the Catholic behemoth institution, the Jesuits, I mean, the Knights Templar, you name it, they went in. They said, oh, we about to go in off of this blood sacrifice. And that's why every communion, every first Sunday, they say, drink his blood, eat his, the juice is the blood of Jesus, and the cracker is the body of Jesus, and you eat it. It's a satanic, cannibalistic sacrifice that they have Christians participating in. It's top down, so most Christians don't know what they're participating in. I tried to tell you guys multiple times that it was a secret society that lined him up. And it was very intricate, and it was given orders by, on an interdimensional level, by the fallen watchers to those who have to answer to those secrets, to those in the secret society that have to answer to them. They made that call. They paid off who they needed to pay off to turn who against who. They knew what they were going to do. They knew he had, they knew he was a priest of Melchizedek and was the son of a dragon rider, and that they knew the DNA that he had, which was also part fallen watcher, part chaos intelligence realm, which is the realm of what you guys as humans would say the God realm. They knew he had the same, that he was on a higher level pretty much. And so they knew it was possibility for him to transfigure, to shapeshift, to resurrect, to be like a what's that? Not a what's the? It's not a. What's it's the word that they? It's not a ghost, but it's a. It's like your physical flesh, but what is it? It's like, it's right on the tip of my tongue. A parish. It's like a. I want to make sure I get the word right. And as soon as I get done and start editing the video, I know it's gonna come to me. It's like a. It's not the word ghost. It's not. It starts with a P. The word starts with a P, but it's not a ghost. It's not a ghost, but it's like it's flesh. But then they look like a human, but it's not a human. In the Bible, it talks about those type of beings throughout all the world. Those type of beings exist on this planet, by the way. Where you could touch them, they'll feel like flesh, but they're so it's a word that starts with a P, which that's the route he had decided to take. Okay, they did hang him on that cross. Now they take him down. Whether he shapeshifted or not, or actually died or not, or became a, avatar, whatever people say. I mean, I'm telling you, there are so many people, so many things that was written about this particular person that did not make it into the canonization of what you guys call the Bible now. It was taken out. They had the material. People would come forward and say, hey, we saw him rise, or we saw him shapeshift, we saw him rise and went into, he's in India, like his brother, obviously his brother left and went to India, but then there was speculation that he went out and hid in India too after all of this had popped off, and then he went, and then there was some other speculation that they saw him ascend into the heavens. I mean, it was a lot going on, and then obviously it's like telephone, so people, they claim they saw things, people want attention, you never know, the story gonna switch up, but nonetheless, it's interesting stuff, and what's fascinating again about the Yeshua's ascended master is that he clearly had some deeper knowledge than what even the mainstream, what even the public, even in 2024, is even aware of. I mean, it's quite astounding, and that's all been done by purpose. That's all been done by design and on purpose, because like we said, Constantine made it very clear, like, oh, we about to use this to rule the world, because that a part of the blood sacrifice of Jesus, believe it or not, and building a whole canonized doctrine around called Christianity, to rule the world, to do missionary work, to colonize. They went over to Africa and colonized them with the material that was originally their material. They went to the Americas with this missionary stuff. to colonize. The Crusades, the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, all of this killing. We're talking about 80 million just in the Inquisition alone. Then we got the Crusades, and then the 11 million in Africa that got messed up in the I want to say it was the Congo, behind the name of Christianity. Jesus did not create Christianity. He would, honestly, I'm going to be very frank here. He would find it abhorrent. He would find it very abhorrent, what's been done in his name, because again, it was a secret society behind it. And that's what I've been trying to tell y'all. Y'all can call me whatever, blasphemous, whatever. And I already told y'all, like, this is not what you think it is. They are using that as a part of the energy harvesting off of an ascended master that did pass away 2,000 years ago. That they found a loophole into absorbing those electrons and absorbing that energy on a continual basis in the form of organized religion. A religion he wouldn't even approve of. A religion, I am telling you, like, you guys are going to be in for the rudest awakening once he actually once you guys are waiting for this return. And once that return happens, oh, you guys are going to be scratching your head and you won't even believe it. You do the same thing you did 2,000 fucking years ago. You wouldn't even believe it. You do the same shit you did 2,000 years ago and participate in killing the man just like you did in Rome. Just like you do every ascended master, even like you do every interdimensional being that come down here. You try to crucify him because you don't understand some shit, because you don't know shit, or you've been lied to about something. And it's annoying as fuck, I have to say. But nonetheless, that whole behemoth, the things that the Jesuits did, at the top, is deeper than just even like the 33-degree Mason. It's way deeper than that. It's higher levels than that. They all put that shit together, and it is the Fallen Watchers. They put that shit together as a running joke so that they can run this whole, continue to have a foothold in running a 3D system, a system that they are running illegally. And so part of the aspects of control that they have over the human is religion. And again, most of the religions that are created, the ascended masters that they are stemmed from, would not have approved them. They just would not have. They would find it absolutely abhorrent, horrific. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, and even if you were to, and it's not me being condescending. It's just I could see things from a very different lens, and reading that information. And then understanding, with me, my background is, I have a master's degree in religious studies. So religious studies is not the theological seminary that you guys may think. Yes, I am an ordained minister, but I have studied, not necessarily practiced, but I have studied almost every spiritual work, body of work, religion, esoteric school of thought that probably exists on this planet. Not every single last one, of course, but I'm familiar with most of them. Some more than others. And I can see that something severely went wrong with how this stuff was disseminated to humans. But when it comes to the more mainstream, the Christianity, the politicization of Christianity and Islam, very much was top down, very much hierarchical, very much compartmentalized for very specific reasons that are not known by humans. That does not take away from the validity of what you guys want to believe. In terms of if you want to believe in Allah or the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus or the Buddha, that's not me saying, oh, that's wrong. No, I don't care about that. I'm talking about the program, the social engineering behind how it was collated, and how when it comes to Jesus and his original teachings, how his stuff got buried and how it was botched and how it was redacted, and how, removing 44 books, yeah, that's a bit much. That's a bit much to remove 44 whole ass books from the Bible. That's a lot. That's a lot of books. That's a lot of information that you just don't have. To label Gnosticism heretical when Gnosticism is the basis and the precursor to Christianity. It just is. That is where that's where he descends from. That school of thought, as well as obviously from the East, but he understood those Gnostic teachings. And so that's why those parables are written the same way, as well as the Emerald Tablets. It sounds exactly. If you can clearly tell that he read the Emerald Tablets and studied it for years, and come up with his own parables and obviously they teach you how to come up with parables and koans in the East as well. They teach you how to come up with parables. If you're a priest and you go to one of these mystery schools, they will teach you how to come up with parables, or you would pick up on it naturally because. In some parts in the East, they only communicate to you in parables and koans, and you have to figure out the meaning of it, and it can take years. And in some parts, like I don't think, again, we don't know which monastery or whatever he was actually in, but in some monasteries over in the East, if you get that koan wrong, you used to get popped in the head every day until you get it motherfucking right. The priest, you get popped in the head. What's the meaning of the koan? You're supposed to meditate on it. And usually you're supposed to break subject-object duality. So what that means is that the koans are supposed to reveal that the world is an illusion and that you are a higher order being situated within the context of your own perception of reality. So it's supposed to push you to a higher level of consciousness, these koans. And so that is what Jesus was doing with his parables. It was pushing you to. It was supposed to expand your consciousness for those who were going to get it. And that's why some of the people that were like, "Why you speak to us in parables? We don't understand." He was trying to take information that was deemed very secret and powerful, and was just giving it out freely through parables and through light codes, and also the demonstration of the actual miracles, and within those parables will teach you how to do those miracles in a very simplified way, instead of having to go to Egypt and to India and study for motherfucking 30 years and 40, 50 fucking years in a cave and stuff. Nah, it was like, bam, here's how you, lightning bolt. That's how I know he's familiar with the Shakti teachings and the Agori teachings. It was looking for something that's why, the water into wine, the drinking of the wine, the tantra, like these things it was more so of a lightning way to get it done. Now he was building out, a following and trying to teach them, but, the public gets hysterical. You have the humans are not ready for that type of information. That's what they felt at the time. That's kind of what they still feel today in 2024. They still feel your asses is not ready for some shit that he was trying to teach 2,000 years ago. They still, for whatever, it's ridiculous. But so they were very offended. They were very offended that someone was walking around talking about, I'm the son of God and I am God. Me and God are one, and me and the Father are one, and it is not what goes that is not what goes in the body that defiles the body. It's what comes out of the body that defiles the body. Which means, you kind of like, you tell them motherfuckers they can drink. You tell them motherfuckers, you rolling with a quote unquote prostitute, which was they were not, and they were doing their tantra sacred. It wasn't what the public thought. They just was, oh, she's a prostitute. We're hanging around with 12 guys, but she was the second in command, and they teaching each other shit that they done learned, and he knowing very much what he said. He said the women is everything. This was his exact words. I'm telling you. So if you read some of them texts, it's very fascinating. He was like, you can't talk to women like women are everything. Like what? Like, the women is all, and they were looking at him like he had lost his damn mind. They were looking at Jesus, as y'all say. They was looking at him like, oh, you done lost your mind coming down here talking all this stuff. The woman is everything, and talking about these teaching, these things he was doing, and They had a fit, and so they found a way to crack down on him. But again, you never let in their world, you never let a crisis go to waste. And so they think, okay, this person got an immeasurable amount of electrons. Yeah, we can make them a blood sacrifice, but look at this number. Look at the energy marker of this person compared to the rest of these humans. This wasn't like they knew for a fact who he was, so they said, okay, we really about to build a whole system off of this person's energy marker that they knew he himself would frown upon. Don't think for 1 second that they did not go and they were not watching and studying those teachings to find out a loophole of how they could bastardize it and reverse engineer. They knew exactly who he was. So when he come down and he talking about, okay, yeah, you are God, you're all sons of the Most High, the renewing of the mind, be not conformed to the world, but by the renewing of the mind, you would know what God's will is, God's perfect, pleasing will. And those type of things, like they have information that the public don't have access to. So when he's saying certain parables, they know that this means something different. Okay, he talking about the renewal of the mind. But those things register different in terms of like, okay, he's walking people towards an ascension path through the rebirthing of the consciousness. We got a problem here if people actually figure this shit out. And he's letting them know, and they're like, no, we don't roll out. You got to be initiated, and you got to be controlled opposition to be talking the way you talking, and that's what they felt. They felt very threatened by that somebody just come on the scenes from a royal priesthood bloodline that is interdimensional in human flesh, but also related to the fallen watchers, but of a higher order because of his rank in the spiritual world and who he was sent down to be. Because again, where did the fallen watchers originally come from? Where did he come from? It's this. So how, like, you do know that they would have the same similar light codes in the genetic structure, and so they felt some type of way. Surely they did, but they said, okay, we rereading these parables or whatever. You're about to tell all these humans that you're trying to tell that you're trying to teach to liberate their consciousness and to liberate their soul. We're going to tell them that they gotta go through. We gonna switch it all up. We gonna just put some shit in there that you gotta go through. You gotta believe in. You don't gotta do no work. You just gotta merely believe in him and pray, and then that's it. You don't gotta do no work on your soul ascension. They reversed engineered his teachings, so now humans don't do any work and they don't do no soul ascension, and they literally just. They take no accountability for their actions. They literally just put everything on Jesus. Jesus take the wheel. Jesus take the wheel. Jesus do this. Jesus be offense. Jesus do this. And I'm telling you, when you guys gonna be in for a nice rude awakening. Y'all waiting for this return. Okay, y'all gonna get it. But when he come down, or when it is revealed as to what the hell is really going on, we don't want to hear nothing because we already tried to tell you. We already tried to wake it up. He finds this shit abhorrent. Like, what? Like, and they knew that was going to happen, and it's a running joke to them. It's a running joke to them. They're always talking about 33, wearing the cross, that's a joke to them, too. Because they feel like this is still the dominance over an ascended, a descended master from a different realm. They feel like they use that energy that he brought to this planet for their agenda and for their missions, and that it was successful. That's how they feel. And so, but they also at the same time, a part of staving off the karma, so they think, is to have the humans give all of the external energy back to that ascended master Jesus in the form of the praise, the worship, and all that. That's how they find themselves staving off, like, okay, we still, because you take the energy, but then you have to give that energy back. They know these things. That's how it works. And so they figure, okay, we still have to, in some forms, honor this ascended. We're gonna build some statues. We're gonna have the people go every Sunday. We're gonna have, we're going to build a whole to-do around this, because yes, we're riding off of those electrons, and this whole system is able to set up, the whole 3D matrix colonized system, Western system of the started by the Roman and the secret societies of Rome, and even other bloodlines, was able to come to power off of an ascended master by reverse engineering his teachings and blood sacrificing him, and then getting the whole, and then telling all of humanity a half-assed baked story, and giving and creating the organized religion of Christianity. And so his original efforts was defiled. The original efforts to teach humanity intergalactic mentalism for soul ascension and in awareness and consciousness and awareness of the divine feminine was not realized because of what the Roman Empire did with the teachings, the Catholics, the Jesuits, how they switched it around. And I'm telling you, the bishops knew, I'm not the bishops, but the priests knew at that time when they were trying to work on the canonization of the Council of Nicaea, the first one, because there were several councils of Nicaea or Nicaea, however you pronounce it. They tried to tell. They was like, man, why we cannot tell these people this outlandish story. We have to tell them the truth of what his teachings really stood for, of what he was really trying to tell us. And it was like, okay, we killing your ass. You get out of here. Every time somebody tried to come forward and say, you know, this doesn't feel right, you know, I don't know if we should be doing it. Oh, you're dead. Oh, go. You better run in exile, because this is the plan. We about to tell everybody that you have. The only way you're gonna get saved and go to heaven is if you believe in Jesus. When Jesus is literally telling you, "Greater work shall you do if you put in the work." It had nothing to do with what humans are thinking, and so it'll be interesting. You know, I'm waiting. You know, you guys are waiting for what, Apocalypse and Revelations and the return of the Messiahs. There's been many. God comes in many forms. God sends children and his children, her children, in many forms as ascended masters, avatars, deities, angels. You know, and so it's unfortunate. The information has. It is not just Christianity that has happened to. I'm not attacking Christianity at all. Again, Jesus didn't create Christianity. I'm telling you that when y'all get down here and he tell y'all like what the same shit that I'm saying, and again, you guys don't even understand how this all works, because they took out reincarnation off the Bible. The reincarnation is in the Bible. Yeshua had teachings on reincarnation. It's the way in science, the way it's done is not even. It was originally in the Bible, but it's all missing. So humans are literally expecting, I guess, some white, blue-eyed Jesus to come down from the clouds. I really don't like. You guys are really expecting like a white male Jesus with blue eyes and blonde hair to come down from the clouds, and waiting for some signs, I guess, in Revelations. And you know. Don't say no. Don't say I ain't trying to tell y'all, cause I can't wait to see what y'all. I can't wait, because reincarnation doesn't work the way you think it works, and that man was originally black. Anyways, he's gonna come down with the codes of his original bloodline, and it's not gonna be as a he, and so. And there's octaves. There'll be octaves, and so there'll be. It's a team. You have to work in a team. You can't send one person down anymore like that. Some will be on the chopping block, and some would be very hidden behind the scenes. Why would you think we have? Do you know that people have been waiting? People have been waiting thousands and thousands of years for this moment. You can't just come down here with the way it's written. The way you reading it is not the way that it was originally written, so you don't know what the hell's gonna pop off. You don't. But once it comes revealed to humanity, the same shit that I'm saying, like, yo, yeah, you just read it for yourself and really study, and you'll be like, I don't think something is off with this stuff. He was a blood sacrifice. They killed him. And again, it was interdimensional. We know the beings behind it. They at the top. I'm telling you, they have a nice little kaka and kiki with each other, knowing that the rest of the humans are just lost in a motherfucker, thinking some shit that they don't really even know what it's all about. Every time you go on Sunday communion and drink the blood and the wine as the blood and the cracker as the body, they know that it's a satanic ritual that you participate in, and they kaka kiki. They feast off the energy still, and you still. He's trying to teach you a soul ascension and soul consciousness and expansion, intergalactic mentalism, and the power of the electromagnetism. And you guys are down here eating blood and crackers and body, and as a metaphor, of course, as a metaphor, but the energy behind the metaphor is still gruesome. You guys really think like anybody could say, oh, he said this. You don't think somebody wrote that in? You had 350 priests rewriting what they said, what they was gonna put in that Bible 200 years after Jesus existed. They could put it. If you want to run an agenda, wouldn't you put? If you wanted to make a ritual up, wouldn't you say someone told us to do this? You really think he said, just like they said, he said, turn the other cheek. Someone slap you on this cheek, turn the other cheek. Anybody could honor your masters and all that. You really think somebody really said that shit? That's related to that bloodline? That Jesus said that? Come on, it's offensive. It's so offensive. I mean, and I'm not here to tell. The way the world is the way the world is. I can't make other people's problems my problem. So however, the way y'all got it ran down here, no one. You have to save yourself. The information is out there. Everything has been. Nothing is hidden. People have died trying to get out information. People have sacrificed so much to get you guys information of all races and colors and creeds and gender and religions. All over the world, people have come out. He was not the only one that this has been done to, by a long shot, from the same bloodline. He's not the only one. He's just the most famous one, because they were letting that happen again, because they said, oh, it was a lot of work to get that done, and they still have to answer for it at the end of the day for what they did. And so they study. They've been tracking everybody from that bloodline. They have ledgers. These higher levels of the secret side. They got libraries that you will never get access to. Genealogy books, heraldry books that you will never get access to. And yes, they track who came from who, even if it wasn't necessarily from okay, Jesus had these kids. No, it was anybody that was a family member of his. They wanted those people, like, say if it's the aunt, the uncle, the cousin. They tracked everybody, anybody that they knew who his family was. Okay, those kids. They tracked those kids. Those kids have kids. All the way down, track, monitored. They do this. This is just, I mean, they've been doing this for thousands of years, and they got access. They've always had access to things that the public don't have, including the technology to even tell the certain genetics. So, yes, Jesus was trying to usher in the age of divine feminine 2,000 years ago. What we see now happening right now was supposed to be happening 2,000 years ago. And it didn't work that way. A lot of people, they may say, well, that was his fault because he was being flashy. He was trying to teach these things. I personally don't agree with that. From what I'm seeing, a time loop play out, but I also am seeing that was supposed to be the moment that we see now. That was supposed to happen. So literally this planet is 2,000 years behind on some stuff. It was never one person that was supposed to save anybody, though. It's never one person cannot save a world, save the whole world. One person cannot do that. You don't have one person that can just save your ass. You have to save yourself. Now that person can teach you things, and they could be an example, and through the example show you, leave out a blueprint and be like, okay, here's something I found, here's some loopholes I found as far as how to get out of a time loop, how to get out of this matrix, that type of thing. And you do have people that are higher, different vibrations, higher vibrations, lower vibrate, whatever. Sometimes it's not high or low. Sometimes they're just a different outer being. They're from a different dimension, a different, potentially a whole different constellation. You've had that. And so he's trying to teach those things, and it just didn't happen. So now in the day and age that we are in 2024, it's the same thing playing out. There is a time loop. There is a crucifixion rituals being carried out on certain bloodlines as we speak. It's a ritual, so it's a time loop. That doesn't mean a ritual and a time loop is the same thing, but to get a time loop, you have to do a specific ritual or specific rituals. And so one of the way to usher in a time loop is to carry out a crucifixion. It's literally in the occult, in certain groups, is called the Jesus crucifixion ritual, where they recreate the whole thing over again with certain bloodlines, but the bloodlines may not be infamous or famous or influential, so you may not, or may not know about them. Some of them we do know. In 2024, George Floyd was an example of a Jesus crucifixion ritual. Again, it's a ritual to time loop an energy, to harvest a certain amount of energy for an agenda. They've been doing that for thousands of years. Thomas and Carl was another one. That's another famous one that you guys could be familiar with. Believe it or not, Kanika Jenkins and Sandra Bland was also it's a very specific. The thing that the way that they played it out on Jesus 2,000 years ago, they used that same ritual on certain people. They tried to use it on me. So that's how I know. And again, I don't care if people believe me about the things that I was saying about being an octave of that resonance. As far as what I talk about when I tell Black Americans about the bloodlines that they come from and the stuff that was hidden, and the qualitative aspects of their genetics, which is esoteric sciences, which comes from the esoteric sciences. If that falls on deaf ears, that's fine with me, because 500 to maybe 100 years from now, or a Johnny come lately that likes to copy, and steal people's intellectual property or whatever, they'll try to come and say the same thing, and then it would be like, okay. So the thing is, I just know I'm early on things, but I also know that I have to still be myself. I have to still get it out. Like, I didn't come down here to be quiet or to sell out or to, not speak out about things that I see that are wrong. That's just not my style. And I'm continuously evolving and growing myself. And so I'm not one here that's trying to condemn the world or condemn others or, but I do know that in 2024, it's a whole nother, the way it's not going to be no shit that you read 2,000 years ago as far as this comeback or this awakening and this revival, this resurrection, this revelation, this coming Messiah. It can't be. The universe, the galaxies have expanded so much beyond anything that y'all got on this planet. And I'm not being condescending. It's just whatever was written, if it had already been redacted, and if you already didn't even understand the original parts of it, why would you think in 2024 that other parts of the galaxy or the universe was be stuck in the age of Pisces, or like in that vibration? We don't think like that. Like, it's too outdated. It's too predictable. If we were to, if you to come down here, you send ascendant masters, angels, deities, avatars, whatever the hell it is, and it is legions down here, believe it or not, in 2024. Right? That's why you see the shakeup, and it's going to be more and more. You can't do it the way you guys think in this hoopla with the pale horse. Okay, we send the trumpets and all this stuff, and then everybody know what the hell, they already waiting for that. They already got shit planned for that, and portals, and they already, that they be freaking out over every little thing that happened now because they know their time is up. That's why they was freaking out about just a damn solar eclipse. They know something up. And so you can't just come down here with the way you guys, the humans, think it's supposed to look. The humans are expecting some white male, I guess, to come say, I don't know what y'all, like, come on, like, that's not how it rolls. Because if you don't have aspects of let's say, if you didn't layer someone, your ascended masters in 2024, with a certain amount of protection, with a certain amount of energy, they'll just get killed, and then what? Like, you can't carry on the same way we did for 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. You can't carry on that way because it's too predictable. You have to think outside of the box. You gotta code things out of the binary system. What you guys would say would be glitches in the matrix. You gotta use quantum entanglement to communicate with certain entities from different dimensions to get out a message. You have to do that through quantum entanglement. You have to do that through quantum superpositioning. Be in a couple places at one time. You have to be able to obscure the brain computations of some of these ascended masters and angels and avatars that are here. So you may think that, so and so is just a homeless crackhead out on the streets or whatever, or maybe crackhead would be, but just a homeless person out on the streets. Or you may think that the person sitting on your couch watching a movie, we're running a whole operation down here. You can't just, be all, I think I'm the most obnoxious damn one around, but I've also been given clearance to do that. But I've also had almost gotten killed and almost all types of bullshit as it happened. But I'm not the only one down here. I'm just the one that take the hits because I'm most visible, and I state things that the human race is not ready for. But yes, there are others down here, and they're not flashy. They are not rich, and they're not concerned with those type of things. Their brain computations, they will they sit their ass on that couch and think they watching a damn movie, but the stuff that be going on and the things that they can do with their mind, and that everything is through consciousness. The universe is mental. The things they'll do with their mind and the things that they'll pull off behind the scenes, and you won't even know who it is, and the energy that they can put out, and it is thousands of them, and they will not come forward unless they want to, but most won't. Some will, and they'll be behind certain things, and you'll see they ass sitting on that couch or at work. You thinking that that's the way it's designed, that's the way you had to do it this time. You can't go out there. 2,000 years ago, you sent Yeshua down here. They calming the seas and storms. Some of you are actually going to be able to do that, but you would better believe you got the protection and the clearance to do it. And it's really, once that happened, that's when the war, the spiritual war, is pretty much won. Once you start to see more like, especially like the youth come forward with the X-Men activation, and women, and once you start to see that, especially with melanated people, that's when that's your sign. That's one of the signs that the spiritual war is pretty much won by us. That's when like, oh shit, like it's a wrap. Ain't nobody up there. It's been a full takeover, pretty much. It's been a full, complete takeover once you start to see that. Because it's already happening. There are people that are hiding it, and there are people that it only comes on and off. You descend and ascend, or ascend and descend, whatever. And so based on the frequency, it can change. But many of you, once you start seeing them X-Men activations amongst the youth and melanated people, and it's already happening, but you're gonna see more and more and more. Once that becomes mainstream, once you see the panic behind that, it's not going to be a crackdown either. You ain't gonna be able to go and run up on these type of people. They be scared to death to run up on a Tyshawn and Shawniqua, you know, that done activated they did. Whose DNA done activated. Okay? They scared. They ain't gonna just run up on no Shaniqua, you know. But I'm talking in code, but for those who know what I'm talking about. And it's some of us that's even in 2024 that they scared to run up on. But I'm talking about once it gets to that level, like we talking about 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Like, that's when it's like, okay, it's been fulfilled. We done did what we had to do down here. But yes, a lot of things are being done in very intricate ways, as far as, like, again, using the science of the octaves, the zygote spirit turning from the heavenly realm, chimera monarchs from the heavenly realm, as well as your avatars, your deities, and your angels. These are the things that we're doing now in 2024. This is what we're doing in 2024, along with quantum entanglement and quantum superpositioning, to carry out a lot of things, because we had to hide a lot of those energies within humans itself, or it wouldn't have worked. This is not, you know, what humans are waiting for is a savior or someone to come and get them and take them off of this planet or do things, help them. You know, they're waiting for that, but then not realizing that the beings that they are trying to get to save them, they have to fight other beings that want to enslave them. And it's honestly like a self-imposed limitation. It's kind of like a self-imposed enslavement, because it's not like they have like surmountable amount of power over actual humans. It's more so it's mind control, and it's through distraction and through hiding of information, through fear, through separation, through through division. It's not an actual, like, elaborate, but nonetheless, those are energies that are still going to ride out. And so even if a being does come down and say, oh, okay, they're interdimensional, they're an angel, whatever, you're going to be tested if you come out saying that shit. If you come out saying that you are an octave of Jesus, you are an octave of Kalimar, you're an octave of Sekhmet, whatever it is. Many of you are octaves, many of you are not. Yeah, you're going to get tested by the governments, by the secret society. They about to test that. You said you this, okay, tell me about to test that shit. And I'm talking from experience. It's not a joke. But the beings that you guys want to just save and teach and spoon feed you and coddle you, they have their own missions, their own agenda, their own thing that they gotta do. They don't have time to coddle or to spoon feed or to, like, these things that you like. It's kind of it's strange. It's very strange in an interdimensional being's mind to hear those type of things. Like, and we've all been there, so it's no judgment, because we've all been there. We all want someone to come and just alleviate. Humans are lazy. Let's be real. Like, we're not like the most. Like, it's like someone else do work for us. But when I say lazy, not in that sense of like we know how to work. Like, we'll work to the bone, build things, that type of thing. But I'm talking about when it comes to soul ascension. Oh, very lazy. Oh, good God. I mean, anytime you got billions of people believing that one person is gonna, that they don't gotta do no spiritual work. All they gotta do is believe in someone else, and then that's the end of their spiritual work. Oh, and then when you get to the other side, then you shocked and bewildered. Like, nah, man. Like, that's that's lazy. That's laziness. And believe it or not, a lot of other species in different dimensions and constellations, they do look down on that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair, as I understand what happened down here. But a lot of them do have that palm face moment, or they just see it as a lesser species. There's literally no hatred or no love behind it. It's just that is It's like an ant. And again, those that are in control of the system, they see it merely as playing a fucking video game. They just know that the video game about to be turned off and we about to put another game in. That's all they know. And so they're gonna fight. It's like that's the best way to put it. And I hope that there are people that can follow me. Imagine if you live in a simulation in a holographic universe built off of algorithms, sacred geometry, certain binary codes or whatever, right? Imagine you got the Fallen Watchers. They was given clearance over this planet to program this planet, simulate, and so they created their simulation. And imagine that, see that simulation as a video game. Just like you play a video game and it's a simulation in a video game, it's the same thing with the universe, believe it or not. Certain planets. Because the universe is mental. The Fallen Watchers, they are playing this as a video game. They have more power than humans. They're smarter than humans. They're not more righteous than humans. They're not more loving than humans. But they're smarter than humans. And they're more disciplined. And they're not as lazy. They're not lazy. So imagine you got Fallen Watchers, but then you got the Watchers from the Chaos Intelligence realm, or you got even different entities from different constellations. Yeah, you have the Pleiades want to come down here, but they do. Like, just so you didn't know, there's some species from the Pleiades star system that's trying to get back into this bitch. They already landed, but they're coming down. You got Andromedians want to come down through. You got people that's on this planet that want to come out of hiding. The Lemurians, they want to come out of hiding. The people that wrote the entities that come from Pele in Hawaii, they want to come out of hiding. What else? We have so many. Then you have the beings from the Chaos Intelligence realm. They want to come down. Some of the Dragon Riders want to come down. They see. So here we come with our video game and our simulation. Okay, we want to put our video game on this damn planet. And so now you got the people that's already down, that the Fallen Watchers that's already been here for a couple thousands of years, even though that they, it's like it's a lot, because it's like they looking at it, we're going to fight. Imagine someone playing a video game and then someone else walking around with their video game and try to take the PS5, take the PS5 and put their video game inside of it. Maybe that, I think PS5, I think it's now all online. But just imagine someone trying to put their video game inside of the damn machine to play the PS5 or the PS3 or whatever you guys call it, the Xbox, to play the video game. You're gonna get into a fight. Like, I'm playing my video game. The Fallen Watchers are like, we playing our video game. We got mind control down this bitch. We do Satan. We got our setup the way we got it set up. What are y'all doing? What are y'all talking about? We renegades out here. This is what we do. And we're like, from the Chaos Intelligence realm, from Pleiades, it's a cluster of us. Like, we got our own video games, but luckily we all teamed up. Like, Pleiades, Andromedian star cluster, Orion star cluster, the Orions, and the Chaos Intelligence. Well, they are going to defer to the Chaos Intelligence realm, by the way, because that is the dark energy that makes up the galaxy. We're looking like we about to put our video game in this motherfucking And it's not even like the Chaos Intelligence realm is more so assisting the other species, including the human race, on getting their video game in there. Because you even got some of these people, some of them are of the human species as well, right? And we trying to put a new video game in, and the Fallen Watchers are like, square up. It gotta be a square up on both sides. Now, this is what you call spiritual warfare. You're trying to usher in new narratives. You're trying to, and I'm telling you, like, this shit is real. Is I'm giving you an analogy. You have to be very spiritual to follow it, or not. But like, I'm hoping there's some soul out there that understands what I'm saying. I know it gotta be, but that's what they feel. They like, you square up, we square up, and it's been spiritual warfare the whole time. Mind you, their simulation, their video game, is pretty much a how to harness the electrons and the energy soul markers of the humans that they rule over. That's literally the name of their video game. Just like how you play Resident Evil, and Resident Evil, the zombies come and bite and all this shit. The Fallen Watchers video game is how do we use the humans as a loosh, as a battery. That's their video game. And so you guys are looked at as AI. If you guys didn't know that, they treat you like AI, which I don't agree with that. And they try to program you. They're obsessed with mind control, programming you, as well as rule through fear and rule through reverse engineering of everything that is natural to the human. That's also a thing. And so that's their video game. And so the humans that are in the video game, in the simulation, they are like, we need a savior. We need someone. Someone's going to save us. They're literally waiting for like someone to come and save them. Mind you, they can be free at any time. They don't have to. They don't have to go along and play and be in the Fallen Watchers simulation video game of division of the whole Matrix. They don't have to actually be in it. But programming is hard to break. Even with my own program, it's hard. You break levels of it, but then there's levels. It's a lot of stuff to overcome. And so the humans is waiting for someone to guide them to a path of soul ascension when all that information is actually freely available. That's another part of the video game. The video game is everything is actually available to ascend, to become enlightened, but the part of it is your bread and circus and the fiat currency that distracts you. Who's going to actually take on the path of soul ascension? When we do see them soul ascension, we'll put roadblocks and levels so they can get to the next level or not, or we'll just kill them off. Or which is all that's an illegal aspect of the algorithm. That's why a lot of the things that's been done to humans has been seen in a universal eyes as illegal. However, humans still have to take a great deal of accountability for their own state that they find themselves in 2024. I know as much as they want someone to come and save and all this stuff, they have to also participate in that spiritual warfare and pick a side and work towards that soul ascension and work towards the raising of our vibration collectively as the human species. And in that way, we'll see the mirror reflect. That way we'll see our perceptions reflect that ascension. That's why you do see a 5D shift, because people are not as ignorant as they were. They are questioning things and awakening, and they are focusing on themselves. They are wanting to experience more love, more joy, more peace, more happiness in their life. And then the spell, the algorithm, spells are algorithms, because again, the universe is mental. So when you think of you writing a spell or a heka, that's still an algorithm. And so when we look at like the way the Fallen Watchers, and they have their minions and their ilk within the video game, within the simulation, working this whole system, they've created these algorithms, quote unquote, spells on people. And so those spells are no longer working on the humans because the humans are coming up with their own algorithms. So the spells have no effect. The spell of non-critical thinking, the spell of poverty, the spell of obesities, these spells that they put on the human race, especially melanated people, especially when it comes to black men and black women, especially black women. I mean, they spell at these are algorithms. Okay, black women, we gonna do this propaganda on you. Black men, we gonna do this propaganda on you. Black women, we gonna tarnish your image. These type of things that they've been doing. Those are the algorithms. That's the way they programmed the simulation. But then the simulation keeps, their simulation keeps glitching because the quote unquote NPCs are becoming sentient. That's how they see humans. all humans as AI NPC. And when someone does become an ascendant master, they do. In the past, they usually have tried to kill them, or if they were a bodhisattva or a revolutionary, anybody of that nature, scholar, activist, in the simulation, you would most likely the algorithm is designed for you to be for you to either self-destruct or to be killed. That is the way the algorithm is designed. Those algorithms are also no longer working. Again, there's other beings on this planet that know greater algorithms, that know greater encryption, that know greater latency reduction, that know how to write outside of binary code. Binary code is not the only code. That know how to come up with their own sacred geometry. These are primordial energies. These are not just fallen watchers that are ages 10 to 15 and shit, and 5 to 10 and shit in the heavenly realm. These are very advanced primordial energies. They are not angels. Fallen angels are what governs this planet. If you guys didn't know that, they are interdimensional beings. They're the ones at the highest levels of the secret societies that they gotta get fed, or that the secret societies answers to. It just is what it is. But the primordial energies that have come down, they are very, 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 very ancient, and they would be seen as like grandmothers to the fallen watchers, or like elders or middle-aged adults. Where it's like, what the hell are y'all doing down here? What are y'all doing? We need some we need some act right around here. Yeah, I need to get some act right around here. What the fuck are y'all doing? And then so everybody just start hemming and hawing, and who did this, and who so and so said this, and no, I didn't do that, or did fallen watchers they did do that, and some say we gonna fight, we fighting back, fuck y'all, we been, and then some say, you know what, I want it out anyways. A lot of people want out, just like how a lot of humans want out of their deals and the shit that they done. It's the same way interdimensionally, people want out. So it's like, shit, we was waiting for y'all to come back anyways. We waiting. And again, it's not a thing of y'all, we get putting y'all on ships and shipping y'all away. Y'all can do that yourself. That's what we trying to say. You can do that yourself. I can do that myself. It's not, I'm in this too, figuring this out, this whole thing. I may be farther along than other people, but at the same time, I need help just like we all need help. As far as in that ascension process. And I go and I ask for that help, but I don't expect nobody to just come and save my motherfucking ass. I get very lucky when, the guy, I know that God will come through. That I know. I know if ain't no hair supposed to be touched on your head and somebody doing some illegal shit to you in the spiritual realm, I know God step in. I know righteous ancestors step in. I know that there's some humans that will step in to prevent it from happening. There are humans on this planet that will astral project and help your motherfucking ass if something is being done to you illegally in the spiritual realm. Through all humans, throughout all times, people have been assisting. People talk about how they saw an angel, or they saw people would talk. Their house was on fire, and they said that they was miraculously like hovered out of their house. Like they said like they was moved out of their house, and it wasn't the firefighters. Like we heard this stuff of people drowning in Lake Lanier and shit, and them being magically taken to shore. But nobody was in the water at the time. They magically made it to shore. It wasn't, like they say magically, but obviously they say, hey, I saw an angel come and get me. There are times where, yes, you literally, if it ain't your time, or if it's some sherm, illegal ass shit in the algorithm being carried out in a simulation against you, yes, you will get someone to save as you guys are waiting for. Someone to help your ass along the way. I've been very lucky in that sense, and I know many others have been too. And they'll tell you. There are people that will say that they knew they was going to die. They knew, and they saw some angel coming, or some God or somebody astral projected to give them some information to help them get out the situation they was in. It's real. It will happen to many of you. Because many of you are going to be awakening, and you start working your macabre and all this. You trying to get up, you looking around, and They can feel that stuff. That's when you start glitching the algorithms. You start canceling out stuff, and they're going to zero in on you, and they better not do that illegal stuff that they was doing to me and to others. But when they try, that's when you yourself will have those testimonies of someone astral projecting to you, helping you, a God helping you. You will have those same testimonies. Sure will. Already have them now. Or already have them now. And so, yes, there are times where there is step in, but as far as what y'all looking for, as far as soul ascension, that is your work. That is your work. That is humans' work. And individual, very individual. Or you collectively can sometimes get together and help one another out. Share information, share things what Jesus is trying to do. Hey, let's get out of here. And you will get on a mothership. You will get out. And then there are things that are happening with this planet. This planet is going to be absorbed into another order, just so you guys know. It is going to be absorbed. It's not just 3D going to 5D. It is going to be, yes, we're starting at 5D, but this planet will be getting sunk into a black hole and going into a very high dimension. It'll take some time. I'm not saying I'm going to be here to see that. I got the memo, though. It wouldn't be chaos intelligence beings down here if it wasn't something very serious going on. It's not. I know it's bigger than 5D. I don't care what people say. It ain't just we shifting to 5D or even 6D, 7D. It's way deeper than this. This planet, it has been decided that this planet will be getting absorbed into another larger system. And you call that black hole, wormhole, another, a parallel universe. Is some shit that's about to go down. And if that's the salvation you guys are looking for, maybe heaven on earth, that's what you guys are looking for, then you will get something of that nature. But again, it's splits. It's going to be like a lot of splits of consciousness. And so that's something to be prepared for. It's something to be prepared for, especially as we go into, because it's taken slower. But this planet, and they'll come out and confirm it, that something is going on with planet Earth. The rotation shift it's not just a matter of shifting of the magnetic poles and north and south. Nah, it's some other shit. Y'all gonna start to see. And you will still be having life on Earth and whatnot, or you'll develop a light body so where you can handle those changes that's about to come. You're gonna be able to see. I don't even know if I should be giving that information out. I won't. But good God. Yep. We going into, it's a slow little, it's slow, but we going into a big ass black hole. But before then, you're going to be traversed through you're going to be seeing Saturn. Like, you're going to literally be able to walk out your motherfucking door without no telescope. And sometimes, I'm talking about and see the rings on motherfucking Saturn. That's how close we about to get to this bitch. Again, I may be gone by that time that happened, but I know it's going to happen. It's going to be some times where the days get extended, and it's going to be some weird shit with the time. They're going to switch that time up too on a different. But this time is not going to be as important. So they trying to do stuff with the time, but humans themselves are going to be evolved enough to where they realize there is no time. And so you're going to see like this idea of this 24-hour thing. You're going to see that fade too. You really are. You're going to see some really cool stuff. You'll be able to walk outside and see them rings of Saturn. You're going to walk outside and see. Okay, so you didn't be able to see Saturn. Remember how Venus used to be the morning star? Remember how you used to be able to walk outside and see motherfucking Venus every day and every night? Or every morning, rather. It's about to be like that with Saturn. Oh, yeah. It's about to go deep. And that's when you know, like, the thing is, there's the vibration will be much higher. And that's even temporary. Like, it's not like you're gonna traverse through these planets, see these planets, and y'all motherfuckers is going into a black hole. And that black hole is the chaos intelligence realm, and you guys will be absorbed into the infinite consciousness of the Godhead. That's been the design for the planet Earth. Most of, again, the people at the top will know when this is all happening. Maybe, hopefully, the rest of the humans will find out. I'm telling you in advance, but they always shadow ban on my shit. But when it does start happening, you guys will know. When you guys see it, when they say, "Oh, you can see Saturn out the side, Saturn's rings. What happened?" And when they start saying like something with the time, we start having people not care about time, that 8-hour work shift and all that shit. When you see people push back about that, and when you start to see, that's when you start to say like, "Oh, okay, we see what Kali was saying now." Like, "Oh shit, there's some more other stuff going on." And when they tell you that the Earth done the rotational shift is changed and unsped up faster than what it's doing now, and you start seeing the moon, you're gonna start seeing some stuff, weird shit with the moon, and oh yeah, it's going down. It's going down. You have to be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. You have to be careful what you summon up and what you ask for, whether it be the humans, the fallen watchers, whoever did it. And I know it was some fallen watchers that wanted out and was begging for certain species to come back down here too, because they kind of, like, believe it or not, some of them fallen watchers, oh, this is so deep. Oh man, I know I'm losing people. I know people just not ready. Believe it or not, some of them, and I have tears in my eyes as I say this, because I've witnessed some stuff, like I've witnessed stuff that has just changed my my whole world, pretty much. And I know for a fact that there are some that have tried to walk away from what has been happening to humans and down here on this planet. And even some of them are like, I just want out of this. Like, what can we do, like, to get out? Like, it's been that deep. It's that damn deep. Like, some of them are like, Jesus, like when I say they're calling on Jesus, like, that's how serious this stuff is. It's like, well, whatever it is, because they actually saw how when some of the humans would call on certain ascended masters, like, certain things would happen. So they saw the glitches in the algorithm, and they saw the shifts in electromagnetic energy of things that they couldn't explain, these anomalies, when certain ascended masters would get called. Like, some of the fallen watchers have said that they've witnessed that, and so that made them second guess what the hell this whole system was about. It made them second guess, like, they saw, and it wasn't just where it could have been like, because again, they've been doing things to humans for to keep them from ascending, to keep them in a low state of vibration. And so they saw certain humans be able to circumnavigate some stuff and study what those humans were doing. Like, well, who do they believe in? Like, what are they calling on? And they see in somebody, whether that had been some Black Americans, it could have been some Africans, but they would study, okay, some of these people are saying Ogun, some of these people are saying, and they will see certain things just glitch out in the Matrix, or this video game that they have simulated to a very advanced degree. And they would see those algorithms just glitch out. And when they would study what those humans were into, they would realize, like, wow, like, there's some truth to this stuff. Like, whatever it's something going on here when it comes to, like, who that person actually really was. That was really a ascended master. And again, he's not the only one, because you'll see, even when you call on certain avatars, say certain humans will call on certain avatars for protection or to help them. I'm telling you, it's a beast of a system down here. It's a really messed up system down here. And some humans become what you call targeted. It could be targeted individual, targeted harassment. You guys know what I'm talking about. And some of the targeted individuals, they're able to just constantly get out of, whatever traps and whatever shit that's been set up before them. And it's because they have relied on certain ascended masters. They have called on certain ascended masters. They have been able to channel their energy. They have called on Orisha. They have done something to get them some help, to get them some protection. And so, and even when they try to attack, and attack those chosen people, attack black Americans, attack the Africans, attack. It is always constantly trying to get them out the paint, and don't shit be happening to them. They go higher, they go thriving. I mean, look at even with black Americans is the biggest example of that. I mean, and I'm not trying to, like, start no diaspora war, because you can see it in Africa too, where they're like, damn, we can't get rid of these niggas. They multiplying like roaches. They call, they love to call black people roaches. And all these motherfuckers they don't go away for nothing. They attack, and they realize like, nah, there's some other deep shit going on. And so yes, some of them follow watchers were like, I want out. Like, this shit ain't it. Like, this stuff is temporary. We know there's changes coming. And when they get down here, I'm singing like a canary. I'm not about to fall into ever deeper unawareness or ever deeper separation from the primordial source because of ego and because of an addiction to low governing force. And so that's where we're at. And I know that may be hard for a lot of people to even, quite understand. But I have seen some shit, man. I'll just say that. You don't have to believe me, but I have seen it. I have seen some shit, man. I've seen some shit. And I do know that this whole thing is at its end. Like, it's like standing on like two broken ass pillars. It's just about to knock over this whole matrix, this whole system. And it's so obvious to me. Like, I mean, it's like you trying to get evidence of this stuff, or you call yourself trying to record the phone calls of this and the stuff that people are saying, like confirming what you're saying, and then you try to go and you try to record it, and then you try to play it back, and then there's nothing on the other line, but you know for a fact that you was talking with a motherfucker for a whole hour, but then nothing is on the other line. It's just you talking. Like, make it so if you go and try to share with the public, your ass sound crazy because it's just your voice, and you the other person, you was clearly going back and forth with another person. Or you only get glimpses of their voice, and then it go back out, a glimpse of their voice. So I know I was dealing, like, I'm thinking I'm dealing with actual humans, and I'm dealing with fucking interdimensional beings, and they making threats, and they telling me, oh, I walked away, or they telling me they about to put. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe if I was to say it, you wouldn't believe, or you guys already know is an under oath, and you know what I'm saying. You already have a working knowledge of what I'm talking about, but you so scared to speak out and be like, okay. Because I know it was other people that was monitoring them phone calls that I was having with people when we were talking about this type of stuff. And like I said, I know what was said to me. And now that I actually have the, like, I'm like, that was some that was not normal. It's not normal to have multiple conversations with people. And that you're trying to record. It's not so much that you can expose them or get them in trouble or nothing like that. It was just that I was the one getting threatened. I was told that if I didn't, I'm going to be put back on the cross, just like how, what happened 2,000 years ago. Motherfucker, we'll do it again. And again, this is so intricate, so it's flying over people's heads. I know what I'm saying. I know it is what it is. But this was what was literally told to me on the phone by a motherfucker. Oh, I see a cross. Look, you're talking too much. Like, and I'm thinking, like, what the heck? And then you go and you try to, I'm like, oh shit, let me record this shit. I ain't tripping here. And then you go and play it back and you don't hear. And I'm like, I know that. And that's why I'm like, I'm too done. Like, I know people have said, like, that girl had a lot of things have changed. I don't have energy to give to very mundane things. I have no judgment of it, but I talk about a lot of deep topics these days. A lot of people are still saying, they still so damn brainwashed. They still saying conspiracy theory and all this stuff. You're going to have to learn the hard way. But I say that all to say that it's very, very obvious that it's about to go down. It's about to go down, and I have to get right. We all got to, and it's not like a get right, like There's nothing really wrong with us, but like I'm talking about, I don't want to be absorbed into a lower split of silos of consciousness. I want to, that's what I mean when I say get right. I'm not trying to create an internal consciousness of hell of my own making, because I don't face my inner demons, or what they say, shadow work, or my own soul. That's what I mean by that. Like, I gotta get my shit. I gotta focus on myself. I ain't got time to be focused on the world. But at the same time, every mind is a universe, so that the automatic shift in your mind is what literally molds this universe. That I do know, that I have been able to discover. But yep, buckle up, because it's about to get motherfucking real. And yes, Jesus was here to usher in the age of divine feminine intergalactic mentalism of the chaos intelligence room 2,000 years ago. Got sacrificed, killed. Well, in their eyes, killed. But obviously, you cannot kill the soul, and you can't kill a chaos intelligence being of that nature. So yes, they have the ability to shapeshift and to resurrect and to whatever they're going to do. Apparition. They can do other things with their bodies, but nonetheless, yes, he was talking about the age of divine feminine. And so I also want to, what we're going to do now is I am going to share with you chapter 11 of my book, The Nakhti Queen Mothership Part 3, The Divine Feminine and the Language of the Gods. If you can support me and actually get the whole book, that would be great. But chapter 11, I did write about Jesus' views on the divine feminine. And so I'm actually just going to, let's make sure that chapter 11, I want to make sure that all of the, okay, so I wanted to get, maybe I should show some of the Gnostic teachings on what there's a chapter on Gnosticism in that book as well, but I wasn't going to share that. But there's pretty much all of the Gnostic texts that you guys may want reference on, or that's in there. There's teachings of the divine feminine, of every goddess that throughout different pantheons, the east, the west, the south. You guys know. But chapter 11 is what I'll be sharing from that book, Jesus Christ's Views on the Divine Feminine. I am using what is those audio? I'm using the audiobook software, and so it's my work, but I won't be actually sitting here reading the chapter 11. What I do is they have like this cool audiobook software that you just upload your chapter to, and then they'll just read it out loud, And so that's what you'll hear play once I am done talking, okay? But it is chapter 11 out of my book, Nakhti Queen Mothership Part 3, The Language of the Gods. The Divine Feminine, the Language of the Gods. It's the language of the gods because there was a lot of intergalactic quantum entanglement, and there's a lot of scholarship, there's a lot of history, but there's also, it's a very spiritual book as well. Yep. And if you guys want more information in terms of like the stuff that I'm talking about, this book will give you some reference. And then I just released a book, The Nakhti Queen Mothership, Alternative to Freemasonry. The Nakhti Queen Mothership, I have my own body of work. I have my teachings on the Nakhti philosophy, resonance. Those are the resonance being a fifth governing law of the universe. The Nakhti mudras, the Nakhti primordial rites, which is kind of like the lesser banishing rite, but on steroids. And there's two different forms. All of that is in the Alternative to Freemasonry book that I just released. It is a high society order of those of us that are seeking soul ascension and enlightenment. Is not about classism and race and gender. It's not based on those type of things. I know people may say, oh, that's just for women. We are about the divine feminine, but we love men, and men are welcomed. When we talk about the divine feminine, it's not exclusive to just women, because every human has the divine feminine and divine masculine within them. Okay, and so men have the divine feminine in them as well, just like they got the divine masculine in them. They may walk with certain aspects of that polarity, more so of the the positive, quote unquote, the positive is the divine masculine. And but they are more to encourage. They're actually encouraged to get those teachings of the Queen Mothership as well, the Nakhti Queen Mothership, the Nakhti philosophy as well, and they can certainly benefit from the Nakhti primordial rites and the Nakhti mudras. Those are not just for women, but they were designed by women. They come from the chaos intelligence realm. They are rooted in the Atlantean, the original Atlantean version of intergalactic mentalism, and they are channeled through. And I've been giving out that information, and so if you guys want to know more information, because I do talk about bloodlines and these teachings as well in the Alternative Freemasonry book. It's just more of my original teachings, as well as a rundown of like the Atlanteans, the Lemurians. You know, it gives homage to the Lemurians and whatnot, and the Pleiadians, Atlanteans. You know, it gives homage. It gives homage to even Saint Bernard, because that is an ancestor that came to me in 2022. August of 2022, when they were messing around with the CERN machines. I'm telling you, shit went down. August 2022, man. Shit went down. I felt all of that. I didn't even know what was going on. I had to have another Black American tell me that is what had happened. But I didn't know. I just woke up and knew some shit had happened. And I was like, there's some spiritual shit going on up down here. And then I go online. There was a Black American giving out a warning out. She was spiritual. She's not a spiritual teacher, but she just was, she was saying, if anybody is spiritual and sensitive, I just want you guys to know that you are not going crazy. That they have opened up, they released the CERN portal yesterday, and they have released a bunch of entities. We need you guys to get up on, your spiritual game and protection, because it's wild out here. And when she said that, it all made sense. I said, oh, okay. But then not all of those entities that had came through were bad, and some of them had their own little agendas and their own little trickster energies and whatnot. But it just went down. It was never this planet has never been the same. I have never been the same since August 2022 or whatever they was doing up there. I have never been the same. And so yes, we'll play that. We'll play Jesus Christ Views on the Divine Feminine. We'll do that, chapter 11, and then that will be this video for the Divine Feminine, and we're coming back with more. Okay, we're coming back with another video on the Divine Feminine, so you guys stay tuned. I appreciate you and I love you. Bye.
Chapter 11. Jesus Christ's Views on the Divine Feminine. The Gospel of Magdalene, also known as Miriam ha-Magdala, elevates Magdalene to a position of even greater significance, portraying her as a trusted confidant and a devoted disciple. This papyrus codex, originating from the 5th century and translating a 2nd century Greek text, first emerged on the Cairo Antiquities Market in January 1896. In a pivotal scene within its surviving pages, Magdalene provides solace to apprehensive disciples, assuring them that Jesus' grace will serve as their protective shelter as they propagate the gospel. Peter defers to Magdalene in this account, acknowledging her special place. He respectfully implores her to share the teachings of Jesus that she remembers, recognizing that her insights could encompass knowledge they lack. As Magdalene recounts a divine revelation, a sudden discord emerges among the other disciples. Andrew expresses doubt, characterizing her teachings as strange ideas, while Peter grapples with jealousy. He questions whether Jesus held private conversations with Magdalene and hesitates to lend credence to her words. This skepticism aligns with a similar portrayal of Peter in the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, where he dismisses Miriam with a comment, "Let Miriam leave us, for women are not worthy of life." However, Levi intervenes in defense of Magdalene, asserting that if Jesus found her worthy, then rejecting her teachings is unwarranted. Levi emphasizes that trust must be placed in Jesus, for he intimately understood Magdalene's character and worthiness. This excerpt from the Nag Hammadi papyrus is so damaged that only a few key words, "my mother" and "3" were decipherable. But here are 8 fragmentary lines of Yeshua's words. 1. Not to me. My mother gave to me life. 2. The disciples said to Jesus. 3. Deny. Mary is worthy of it. 4. Jesus said to them, "My wife." 5. She will be able to be my disciple. 6. Let wicked people swell up. 7. As for me, I dwell with her in order to. 8. An image. Early Christian theological perspectives perceived the pre-incarnate Christ through an ontological lens, regarding him as an angelic entity. This facet of angel Christology exhibited notable diversity and may have manifested as early as the latter part of the 1st century. It is plausible that this perspective aligns with the viewpoint challenged within the initial chapters of the Epistle to the Hebrews. The Elchasaites, or at least those Christians who bore the imprint of Elchasite influence, crafted a conceptual pairing of the male Christ with the female Holy Spirit. In this vision, both figures assumed the form of colossal angels, signifying a distinctive theological understanding. Yeshua, known as Emmanuel in his actual name, traced his lineage back to the illustrious house of David and the wise King Solomon. His education was enriched through immersion in the teachings of the revered dragon riders and the ancient cults of Kali and Tehuti, to whom Yeshua entrusted his following. Miriam ha-Magdala also boasted her ancestry among the original dragon riders. The name Miriam carries the profound significance of a lighthouse, guiding seekers toward enlightenment. The symbol of the dragon finds a deep-rooted connection with the primordial mother, for her DNA interweaves with numerous galactic species, both known and unknown. She is closest to the concept of primordial waters and primordial darkness. This entity is the one King David was talking about in Psalms 18. During the enigmatic missing years of Emmanuel's life, from approximately 13 to 33 years of age, he embarked on an extensive journey of learning and growth. His quest led him to the sacred lands of Greece, Egypt, Tibet, and India, where he immersed himself in the wisdom preserved by the descendants of the dragon riders. The echoes of his presence resonate across Asia, reaching even the shores of Japan, where the descendants of Emmanuel's lineage forged a new and enduring dynasty. This revelation is why I make many connections between Yeshua and Kali Ma. Kali Ma was taught in the ways of the dragon as well. In our dimension, this is akin to being related to one another. Yeshua was sent to Earth to teach humans about intergalactic mentalism, a precursor to Atlantean Freemasonry. The divine feminine created these teachings. Yeshua, like Tehuti, would be the equivalent of what humans call mama boys. They soaked up as many teachings as possible from our order. Yeshua understood the significance of the divine feminine. This understanding is why Yeshua took Miriam to astral projects on the other planets to teach her celestial knowledge, not the male disciples. This awareness is the reason why Yeshua scolded Thomas and told him that females were essential and powerful when Thomas made a disparaging comment about women. In our dimension, we're taught from birth the ways of the divine feminine and the ways of the dragon. Yeshua wanted to teach humans about the kingdom of God within. He was killed by the entities, fallen angels with Anunnaki, Atlantean, and reptilian DNA, in charge of this simulation because those teachings on planet Earth are kept a secret from humanity. He pretty much pissed off some powerful secret societies connected to Rome, so they killed him, made him a blood sacrifice to feast on his energy. They then hid his most essential teachings and bastardized his most enlightening aspects that raise the frequency of planet Earth. Yeshua could not understand why these teachings were being kept secret on planet Earth because God wants enlightenment for every species. Plus, intergalactic mentalism and Freemasonry were created by our dimension, so from our perspective, we would not see the big deal in telling humans this information. Now, traveling from our dimension to planet Earth varies depending on where we are in time and space, but it took about 2,000 light years for Yeshua to come here when he traveled. This time travel is what Yeshua meant when he talked about the timelines in heaven and on earth being so different. The Roman Church taught humans to worship Yeshua when Yeshua himself said, "Greater works shall you do than me." In our dimension, the Gnosticism and Atlantean Freemasonry teachings are not secrets at all. It is common knowledge that anyone in our dimension can access. Our royal class practices intergalactic mentalism, which is what humans misinterpreted to create satanic monarch mind control. We practice this to harness archetypes' power to help us better run our galactic societies and protect ourselves. It allows us access to incredible amounts of power when needed, but we are very responsible with this power, which varies based on rank and position. Yeshua was sent here to correct what was happening on planet Earth and tell the fallen angels that our Great Mother, God, said no more sacrifice and enslavement of humanity through intergalactic mentalism. He decided to teach humans about intergalactic mentalism by performing miracles and teaching that the kingdom of God is within. The fallen angels sent a message to our dimension by making him the ultimate blood sacrifice and taught humanity to eat his flesh and blood in symbolic communion with wheat bread, crackers, and wine. It is the biggest running joke to some fallen angels and something humans are oblivious to. They then taught humans that God so loved the world so much that he sacrificed his only begotten Son for the world. They pretty much taught them to practice closeted Satanism. But think about it. If Yeshua resurrected on the third day, then God, the Great Mother, kept him alive. He lived many years after that as a phantom with highly upgraded flesh before returning to our dimension. What humans do not know is that God loved Yeshua so much that she would take out the whole world and condemn the whole world for him and many of the other entities that she sent down here to give a message. Whether humans want to accept this or not, Yeshua was an interdimensional being. We are related to the fallen angels by proxy of them being trained in the ways of the dragon before leaving our dimension. We were once Saul family, so that is why we underestimated the level of depravity and hatred they have for us when we visit this dimension. I was sent here to continue teaching humanity about the coming shift to this dimension, the divine feminine, and to add to the intergalactic mentalism teachings by creating the Nakhti philosophy and the Nakhti Queen Mothership. This mission is not something the inorganic ones take lightly. They know precisely the dimension I come from and my bloodline relation to Yeshua. When I told a fallen angel, who appears as a human to humanity, on a phone call that we need to tell humans the truth and get it out in the open so we can raise the planet's vibration, he threatened to hang me on the cross again. I am sure that was a shock to the human CIA agents who were monitoring the call and me for years. This fallen angel even admitted on the phone that he supposedly walked away from what was being done to human beings. I am sure those who have monitored what happened to me in the government considered this classified information at the highest level, but again, we cannot relate to this in our dimension. Also, we use quantum entanglement to get the message from the Great Mother out this time, and every galactic species, both known and unknown, was in on protecting me to get the message to the fallen angels who ruled this planet unbeknownst to most humans. I know this is heavy information, but those who are well studied on the actual teachings of Yeshua, Gnosticism, and the East should be able to understand what I said.